whereupon, as I went to Damascus with authority and commission from the chief priest, say, at midday, O king, I saw in the way a light from heaven, above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me, and them which journeyed with me.
So this is Paul giving his account about when he was knocked off his horse and when he came into the truth. Go ahead.
It say, and when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul.
In the what tongue?
In the Hebrew tongue.
In the Hebrew tongue. Meaning that when Yahushua came to Paul, or when the one they called the Lord came to Paul, he spoke to him in Hebrew. Now Paul spoke Greek. So if the Lord spoke Greek, if the Lord wanted to speak Greek, he could have spoke Greek. But the angels and the Hebrew people spoke Hebrew. The Lord spoke Hebrew. Okay? And not that shit they call Hebrew today. He spoke the real Hebrew. Alright, which is called Lashon Kodash. Alright, go ahead.
It said, when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks. And I said, Who art thou, Lord? And he said, I am Jesus whom thou persecutest.
He said, I'm Yahushua. He said his name was Yahushua because he spoke the Hebrew. All right, go ahead. That's it?
Yeah, he said 15.
That's it. That's all we needed. All right, so the Lord spoke Hebrew. He didn't speak no other language. He didn't speak no other language, so you got to call on his name in Hebrew. All right, and it does matter because if my name is what's the name? What's a good name? If my name was John, all right, and you call me Jano, you think I'm gonna turn around and listen to your ass? Even if the Jano was another language for John, you think I'm gonna turn around and listen to you? Hell no. You better call me by my name. The Yahushua is the same way. You got to call on his name. All right, you got to speak it in the holy tongue. His name is Yahushua, and his father's name is Yahweh. Go ahead, read that. Now we're gonna get into the Yiddish because, see, Yahshua and Yehoshua, that's Yiddish. The Hebrew alphabet does not have a O or a U in it. Okay, the Hebrew alphabet does not have vowels in it. All right, so those languages are that Yehoshua and Yahshua. We already know that that's not his name. That's not even Hebrew. That's Yiddish. Go ahead, read that.
All right, this is Yiddish from the Random House Webster's Scholar Dictionary. Say Yiddish, a language of Central and East European Jews and their descendants.
Right.
Elsewhere.
Read that again. A language of who?
It's a language of Central and East European Jews and their descendants.
That's the Khazars language. That's a language that they made up, along with them names. All right, go ahead.
It's based on Rhenish dialects of Middle High German.
Right.
With an admixture of vocabulary from Hebrew and Aramaic.
So these are amalgamated languages put together, man. These are languages put together that they just called Hebrew. They took the Hebrew script, the Syrian Hebrew script, and they put these fucking German and what is it, Polish and German language and Slavic language, and they put them all together and they called it Hebrew. This is the modern Hebrew. But that's not how it was spoken in the ancient days, and Yahushua did not speak that shit. And he did not call his name no damn Yahshua.
Yehoshua.
Or Yehoshua. His name was Yahushua. Go ahead.
It's based on Rhenish dialects of Middle High German with an admixture of vocabulary from Hebrew and Aramaic, the Slavic languages, and other sources.
Right.
And written in the Hebrew alphabet.
Right. So
they already going off.
So they took that language, they took the letters, they basically took the characters, and they made a new language and called it Hebrew, and they got you Negroes thinking that that's Hebrew. Alright, so we're going to go to this shot right here. Alright, read that.
Alright, this is titled Hebrew, an ancient forgotten language with no written vowels.
Right, because as we read in Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 4, our language is a forgotten language. Nobody knows how to speak our language but us now. Because the Most High said in Zephaniah 3:9, he would give the language to us, the true Israelites. So you can't go get the language from no other people. You can't go to the white man and get how to speak the Hebrew and what the Lord's name is. You got to get it from us directly, the prophets. Because the Lord gave us the language. The language is a forgotten and dead language, Hebrew. That's why I said it. Read it one more time, then go down.
It say Hebrew, an ancient forgotten language with no written vowels.
So the what's the vowels? I, E, O, and U. The O and the U, that's not in Hebrew, so therefore Yehoshua cannot be the name, or Yahshua cannot be his name, because there's no vowels in that language. All right, because you got to understand, Hebrew was it's like an infant language. That was the first language that we spoke. All right, now when you see a baby talk, the first thing that they say is what? Ah, da, ga, da, da, ga, ga.
Baba.
Baba. Because that's the infancy of language. Alright? When the Most High made Adam and then you had humans, they spoke similar to how a baby would speak. Because they wasn't, not to say that they wasn't advanced, but in them days, they didn't know how to make those, they didn't know how to use vowels, because you have to do certain things with your diaphragm and your mouth in order to use vowels. That's an advance in language. Alright? So in the ancient days they didn't have vowels. They used ah, ba, ga, da, ha. The simple, just like a baby.
This is in large part because of the ancient Hebrews' failure to write down their vowels, and of the language subsequently falling into disuse.
The language fell into disuse, Hebrew. Just like Jeremiah 17:4 said, we were discontinued from our heritage. Just like we read in what was that, Jeremiah, that the Lord was going to take his name from us. So our language fell into disuse. Go ahead.
It say, in the adding of the relatively modern vowel points,
go ahead,
by a few belated Dark Age rabbis,
go ahead,
in order to make up for their deficit,
go ahead,
naturally casts very great suspicion and doubts on how the Hebrew vowels were originally sounded and used.
So the Hebrew was spoken. They don't even know how Hebrew was spoken. Keep going. That's it.
Yeah, that's it on that.
Originally, how the Hebrew vowels originally sounded and were used. So they don't even know how the Hebrew was spoken. Right now, let's see what the so-called white man says about the Hebrew language. Go ahead.
It says, nobody today knows for sure how the original Hebrew was pronounced.
You read. Hold on. That's very powerful. Read that again.
Nobody today knows for sure how the original Hebrew was pronounced.
So you can't go into the book, like go into like a dictionary or some shit and look up the name of God and then the white man gonna tell you. That shit ain't right, because the white man doesn't know. It says nobody knows for sure how the Hebrew sounded. Alright, because as I keep saying, that language fell out of disuse when we went into slavery. And we lost everything, including our language.
That's right.
So in these days, you see, going back to Zephaniah 3:9,
I got it too.
read it again, because that's important. Read it again.
It's Zephaniah 3:9. For then will I turn to the people a pure language.
Hold on, to who?
For then will I turn to the people.
The people is the Israelites. Mainly the elect. He's going to turn to the people of what?
A pure language.
A pure language, which is the Hebrew. So he's going to turn it to the people, the prophets. And then from the prophets, it's going to go down to the believers. That's how you're going to get the language, and that's how you're going to get the name of Yahweh and Yahushua, the name of God and his son. You're not going to get it from no white scholar. You're not going to get it from these Israelites that's calling on the name of Yahshua because they got it out of some damn book. Or they read some book that said the ancient Hebrews called on the name of Yahshua. Jesus' son, Jesus Christ's name.